and I see a blue streak, and I was like, no way, it's Luka. I pull over and it's Luka Doncic, and it's 9 out of 10, true RPA. And I think everyone around me went way crazier than I would have expected. And I went crazy because everybody else would. And that's when I was like, this is a sick card. And not only this is a great part of the hobby, but it's a real card.
Welcome back into the break room. I'm your host, Cody Pasby. Today, we're talking to NBA star Grant Williams, who really got back into the sports side of this hobby because you might have seen a viral video at Fanatics Fest where he pulled a Luka Doncic National Treasures RPA. You might be thinking, how did he get that card? Who did he pull that from? Well, it was us. We talked to him about that and much more. Here is our conversation with Grant Williams. Welcome back into the break room. Cody Pasby with you. We've been cooking this one up for a while now. If you remember back at Fanatics Fest, you've probably seen the clip. Huge pull on the show floor. Maybe the biggest of the whole show. And it's Grant Williams of the Charlotte Hornets, NBA vet. Grant, thanks for coming into the break room, man. Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me on. And I'll say it wasn't just maybe, it definitely was the biggest.
Oh, yeah, I know. We're underselling it. No, that was the biggest. That was the moment of the show. And it went viral like crazy. It was amazing. So let's just start there. I feel like that's a good place to start. Take us back that moment at Fanatics Fest. I mean, how's the response been like from folks in this hobby? And then I also want to know, like, from former teammates who maybe saw that video and went, man, what is going on? This is crazy. So what's that response been since you pulled the card?
Man, the response has been so healthy. Like, I would say that the hobby itself has been so welcoming and so inviting that I feel home kind of in the hobby. Like, I even participated in the Charlotte card show here and was both selling. I was like a local vendor, just like acted as if I didn't do any autograph signing or anything else. I was just there. And it was one of my favorite experiences. Got to hang out with some people, got to trade some cards, sell some cards, do some trade up challenges. It was super sweet. And then in terms of the Luka, like the way it happened really started off with, I was just there for the day. Fanatics, like I know Ruba asked me to come, but he didn't pay me to go out there. They didn't so I just showed up and I was there. I was just kind of walking the floors, and as if anyone that was there could tell you, I wasn't even like doing anything specific. I was just walking around. I eventually did the iHeart Radio segment, and then I was like taking selfies with people as I walked around. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Like, I've been doing all these selfies and stuff like that. You guys want to just go rip some cards? And Jess, who I just met that day, Jess Maneo, who's one of my really good friends now, as well as Jess, and then as well as Pat O'Sullivan. He works for Topps, actually. We were like, they were walking me around, and they were like, hey, like, okay, Laura's over here. My friend Laura does Pokemon. I ripped 2 base set packs, and I ripped a Poliwrath and a Gyarados. Both got more. Gyarados got a 10, the Poliwrath got a 9. And so I was like, you know what? I ended up, I put both hollows in 2 packs. I was like, might as well rip some sports. I've never done that before. And so I walk over, do some hit-rated boxes, hit 2 case hits in the Jason Tatum and the acetate Anthony Edwards. And then I was like, sheesh, I'm running hot. Might as well keep ripping. And that's kind of where the hot hands kind of streak of Grant Williams started. And I ended up going to a different setups vendor. Didn't really hit much, but then I came to Mojo. And y'all said, and I quote, we've sold 5 of these boxes today. So this is 4 of these boxes today. This is the last one. And I said, so what am I looking for? And because I originally was like, I'm just going to buy this National Treasures 2019-20 because of my draft class. And then they said, well, you're looking for if you want to make your money back, like a Trae Young, like a PSA 7, 8 would get you your money back probably, like blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, cool. I knew that Shai Gilgeous and Luka and other guys are in the class, but I didn't know anything about sports. So I was like, you know what? As long as I get break even, I'll be happy. And it's a sick card to have. And so I rip open my 2019 box and I pull Kyle Guy. I actually have the Kyle Guy over there. It's a sick card, one of my good friends. I was like, oh, super sweet patch auto. And I ended up going to the 2018-19. Y'all said, you sure you want to rip it? I said, yeah, I'm ripping it. Might as well. And so start ripping it, pull up the Rick Fox, pull up a Nate Tiny Archibald, who was my dad's good friend and put one of his favorite players. So I was like, oh, this is sick. I can give it to my dad. I pull up the Tiny Archibald and I see a blue streak. And I was like, who the heck is in 2018-19 with Dallas? Blue streak. I was like, no way it's Luka. Like it might be like the second round pick, like a Tyrell Terry. I forget who it was that year, whether it was Tyrell Terry or one of those guys. And as I keep pulling up, all you see is Dallas Mavericks, and you see Chick like Doncic. I was like, holy crap! I pull up and it's Luka Doncic, and it's 9 out of 10 true RPA. And I think everyone around me went way crazier than I would have expected. And I went crazy because everybody else was. Because I didn't know what the value of the card was until
Yeah.
someone legit walked up to me and said, I will give you $100,000 cash on spot. And another person said $200,000 cash on spot raw. And I was like, no way. And that's when I was like, this is a sick card. And not only this is a great part of the hobby, but it's a real card.
Yeah.
So it's right here, by the way. And
That is crazy. There it is right there in the flesh. Yeah. So I gotta confirm. Did I hear that? So you got in contact with Luka when you pulled the card or eventually, and then he said, if that grade's a 10, I got $1 million for you. Is that right? Did I hear that?
No, that did not happen. I called Luca. I called Luca that day,
Okay.
and
Okay.
he was in Slovenia on holiday with his girlfriend. Oh, sorry, his fiance. Wait, wife. What is Anna? His wife or his fiance? I don't want to mess that up. But with Anna, and I called him. And I'm like, hey, like I want to give you first right of refusal away, but he didn't pick up. So I was like, I'll just text him. So I texted him, and he said, all for you, birthday. And I said, oh, sweet. So he said that I could either hang on to the car, sell it. And I told him on the side, I said, I'm going to get something for Gabriella, who's his daughter, if I ended up selling it. She actually has the same birthday as me on November 30th. So I told her I'd get a birthday gift for her. And then that would be the little trade off. Like, I thank you for him, but also super sick that I had the card.
That's a great trade off. And yeah, hey, people like the rumors run wild in this hobby. So I had to confirm if that was true or not, what I heard. I want to go back to you were at the Charlotte show you mentioned. Were people doing like double takes of like, did they realize, wait a minute, that's Grant Williams, that's NBA's Grant Williams? Or was there people who were kind of like, wait, what are you doing here? Are you him? Like, what are you doing set up here? Is a lot, I'm sure it caught a lot of people by surprise seeing you out there.
Every single thing you just said happened. Whether it was walk by the table, turn the head quick, like turn it twice, and I was like, "Are you an NBA player? Are you Grant Williams?" It's like, "Yeah." I mean, what are you doing here? Why are you in the like? I know you're in the hobby. I didn't know you'd be like vending. I said, "So you know what?" I said, "I have a cool collection." I was like, "Might as well trade, sell, do all the things and buy." And then they were like, "Oh, cool." So then we started doing everything you could think of, whether it was trade ups or sell or trade or buy. I ended up getting one shield Josh Allen that I traded for and bought like for a little bit, and I ended up trading it that same day and got a box that I hit actually like multiple Charizards in. Like it was a crazy box that probably was triple the value of the Josh Allen card. So I was like, and then all on top of that, also got some cash and everything else. So I was like, it was just super sick to be a part of the hobby and see that side of things as well, because it's not even about the money; it's more so about the experience of like being around people in the community. And I did some deals where I was like, you know what, I'm losing money here, and they think they're getting the best of me, but at the same time, I'm like, I want them to be happy and like, hey, yeah, go ahead. So it's like anytime there was some kids that like I called them out too, because the next day I said, y'all know what you're doing, because I put a dollar box out and they were immediately going through every car. I said, see, y'all tried to get me yesterday and I said, I know better, but I know you guys, even in the dollar boxes, they were pulling out parallels, they were pulling out refractors, they were pulling out all these different things. Like none of the regular like dollar cards do, it's just common cards. They were like, oh yeah, I'm pulling the best dollar card that could possibly be a $3 card, $5 card. It was crazy.
You haven't really been to a card show until like an 8-year-old talks to you like an entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I can't do that. I got a comp over here. Like who? What did you should be watching Paw Patrol right now? What are you doing, man? What's going
That's
on?
exactly it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's amazing to hear that this is this is like you mentioned, the community is all what this is all about. What so you mentioned too your interest in sports cards. This was kind of a new thing, but TCG, that's kind of where you started with Pokemon and stuff like that. Give us like I always like to ask like your hobby history. How did it all start? How'd you get the collecting bug?
The hobby started actually back when I was young. My mom worked for NASA, and she went to Japan and originally got the original Pocket Monsters as well as first edition Charizards and all those different things.
Wow.
And when I was young, you're playing with them. They were lightly played and stuff like that. And I eventually like just started holding on in binders. My brother and I, Gilbert, he's a big not only Pokemon fan, but just anything Japanese culture he's a big fan of. So we ended up like I was a deal I made with him. We're going to Japan this year. Actually, I promised him when I got to NBA one day that I'd take him to Japan, and so that's the first. This is the first year we're going to do that. But so we've been collecting since we were young, and we stopped in college or high school and college, and originally was like when I got back into the hobby, which was over 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. I went to the National as part of an event with eBay, and I ended up ripping a base set Mewtwo hollow. So
Okay.
I was super hype about that. And I was like, this got the bug back itching. Like I miss collecting. I miss like the actual like I love ripping just because I love to say that I packed every single one of the cards in my collection. That's kind of like a sick thing that I have in my own brain, I feel like, because it's like I love the fact to be able to say like I packed it. I remember the story when I was there. I remember the box. I sometimes date the boxes or something like that. That's kind of my collecting journey. But that got me back into the hobby. So then I said, okay, where's all my old cards? Like, I didn't realize the value of half the cards that I had. And turns out they're either thrown away or, in the moves, they're gone and can't find them. Me and my brother were like heartbroken because we'd been collecting those since I probably collected that from 5 years old all the way up till like 14. So I had 9 years worth of collecting cards back then. Just back when packs were like $3, you know, both Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I had all the like Blue Eyes. I had Dark Magician decks. I had everything you could think of. Similar to how Yu-Gi-Oh is going on with Master Duel right now. I play that sometimes. And then Pokemon, I had everything from base set on up to probably Hoenn days, EX days.
Man, yeah. I mean, with the Pokemon stuff too, especially like I was there for like those first couple of sets, like the fossil and the original, and
Mm-hmm.
had all these cards. I've still got a few of them, but like I had it in like a special Pokemon binder. You're putting them in and double
Yeah.
stacking and stuff. You just you don't know when you're that young. So yeah, it just speaks to what
Nowadays they do.
only we knew. If only we knew. I would have
No.
graded them on at recess and stuff for lunch break
Hmm.
or whatever.
I remember it vividly. I remember being on the playground. And you remember those green little, like, I don't know if they were electrical things, but you go outside, people would be playing cards on them.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I remember trading a Blue Eyes White Dragon for like I think it was a Call of D. It was just because I needed to complete the actual deck. And I remember making the trade, and I'm like, why did I do that? When I had a pristine, like, Blue Eyes, and
Oh,
I just gave it away.
oh, that's heartbreaking. Yeah, there's especially too if you like have a couple older kids like at school or the neighborhood, they know the ones that are worth something and they'll get you. I think I got one like a Hollow Blastoise when I was young and for a way worse card. So hey, it happens, it happens. But let's talk on the court a little bit before we open. We got a box, by the way, a Prizm Deca. This is one of the hottest products right now for basketball collectors. We're gonna have you rip that open here in a little bit. I can't wait. I know you're probably itching to get
I
that.
mean, listen, it's exciting.
Let me ask you a little bit. We talked a lot off the court. Let's talk a little on the court. Uh, Last season, you start in Dallas and you get traded to Charlotte mid-year. A bit of a shock to you. What was the feeling when you first got traded? And also give us sort of you had an experience of moving teams in the offseason, moving teams mid-season, just kind of that initial feeling of when you got traded and what was the difference of maybe stuff that fans don't quite understand of like getting traded in the middle of a season versus having a whole offseason to kind of get yourself mentally prepared for a new place, a new team, new teammates.
Yeah. So I would say that to answer the first question, I had a feeling it was coming already. So like it's not like I had one of those moments where you're like super surprised and like, oh no, I just got traded at the deadline. I had no idea. So like Nico and them did a pretty good job of communicating with me as well as, I talked to the guys. So I kind of knew what was expecting, but I just didn't know where I was going. So that's probably the biggest thing is like, hey, where am I going to Charlotte? Am I going to Washington? Am I going to Milwaukee? Am I going to Atlanta? Like there's a bunch of different options. And it eventually came down to Charlotte and I'm from Charlotte. So, for me, it was exciting because, I got to play for my hometown team, but it was also nervous because, you don't really know what to expect. And the difference between off season versus in season, like off season, I chose to leave Boston. So that's where it's like that's another thing that fans sometimes forget is that sign and trades typically mean that the player is signing somewhere else. They just have to do it in order to, make the money work or, bring some value. You don't want to just leave a team and leave them high and dry. So you give them some assets back so that way they don't, there's no hard feelings and things of that nature. So I remember when I left Boston, it was more so like, oh, you're controlling your league. You're like, I'm going to this location, this reason, I'm buying this house and doing this. And I never bought a house before. So I bought a house in Dallas. So I was expecting to be there for 4 or 5 years. And then finally, when it came down to that deadline, I was like, oh, well, it looks like I'm figuring out what's next. And when I figured out it was Charlotte, I was like, this is perfect. So I immediately sold my house in Dallas. Actually made some profit because I bought it off market when I moved there, and it was super exciting that when I left, I did some renovations to it. Made it nice, and we were able to sell it for more and make money on the actual project. But then I bought my home in Charlotte, which I love, and I'm happy to be around family and friends. And it was honestly a blessing. They always say the grass is greener sometimes when it comes to like transfer. And you could argue that the grass was green both places I went because Dallas, I was able to learn a lot of things not only about myself but about the league and the organizations and how they're different. And then Charlotte being the place that I'm happy and love being, and being surrounded by people that I care for, and I'm excited to help win and help motivate these guys to make it to the playoffs.
Hey guys, taking a quick break to remind you once again to go over to Mojobreak.com, your home for the best sports card breaks in the hobby. Get some of the biggest hits and the latest releases on release day. Go over to Mojobreak.com and you can score some huge cards like this.
The last. Triple logo, man! What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh my God! We did it!
So what are you waiting for? Head over to Mojobreak.com right now and use promo code BREAKROOM3 for 10% off your next order. That's BREAKROOM3 for 10% off your order at Mojobreak.com. Little more about your encore persona. You can even start, if you want to start ripping open that box, we can start doing. I'll ask you a couple questions while we're ripping, but I think I heard a Boston Globe article called you a math whiz and a savant. So your on the court persona is that. Your on the court persona, I feel like, safe to say, a little bit different, right? Just that might be putting it lightly. Just a short list of names of guys I'm going to mention that is all something common here. Bobby Portis, Jimmy Butler, Yusuf Nurkic, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. Honestly, we're here in the Bay Area. Maybe most of the Golden State Warriors kind of had some skirmishes and some moments with these guys in the past. Some might call it being an enforcer and an agitator, but I want to know, how do you describe that part of your playing style?
I would say that, I'm an ultimate competitor. I'm also a person that will always stand up and protect and stick up for his teammates. That's something that I feel like is consistent across when I've been playing in college all the way to my pro career. I wouldn't say necessarily that, I feel like last year's Dallas encounter was really like an anomaly in a way. Because in Boston, I remember back to the skirmishes that I had, and they're all through competition in a way. Jimmy Butler came through trash talk between each other. Trying to think of all the things that happened in Boston. Yeah, Bobby Portis and Giannis, those guys we always battle because it's always through basketball competitiveness. And KD and I, we've got into it, but it's never been obviously one of my good friends. I feel like I appreciate him as a person. So all the things that happened when I look back to Dallas, I'm like, dang, what was going on? Because the Nurkic also, I love Nurk. He's super physical and stuff like that, but he will piss you off sometimes in the game. But other than that, I feel like the enforcement role, my job has just been to, make sure you're there for your teammates. And that's why I think my off-court personality, people are always like, you're completely different than what I would expect you to be. People always, I know not people always, but some people call it, they always joke, they're a nice version of Draymond. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a compliment. I don't know if you're trying to do anything else, but even so, it's I always say that you're going to compete on the court. You're going to battle. You're going to I leave basketball where basketball is. Nothing's ever personal. That's why whenever things happen, I'm always checking in with guys and be like, hey, are we good? I'm just saying, I'm making sure that everything's all right. I remember when Lester and I got into it with you in Golden State, or not but after the layup incident. Yeah. Afterwards, I was like, yo, man, I said, I respect and I appreciate the fact that you made it so far, because I remember we talked trash back in the day when you were at Memphis and I was at Tennessee. And I just want to say, it's great to see you up here playing with us in the NBA, man. And there's no hard feelings for anything. And then we, squash everything, all that basketball stuff where you're frustrated when the energy's comes down to real life relationships. So I think it's pretty sick to say that, all my encounters have always I don't think have led to personal beefs, so I think this leads to, ultimate competitiveness and trying to win the game and however you can possibly do it, whether it's mental warfare, physical warfare, or just battling in general.
Yeah, exactly. Things get heated. Anyone who's been involved in any sort of competition or anything like that, things get heated. All right, we got first pack.
First pack. Got a Keontae Johnson base rookie. That's my teammate right now. That's pretty sick.
Nice.
Kobe Buffkin, Nicholas Batum.
What do you think of the throwback design here? This has always been, whenever Prizm brings that original design back, it's always fun. But like to have a whole set revolving around it is really.
I'm actually just now learning about Prizm because like I was I was in TCG, so like sports wise, I never really knew what held value, what was super sick, what was cool. And then all of a sudden, I started keeping up with it. I'm like, okay, so Top Chrome and Prizm are typically the standalone products that are like, okay, these are value. These are also cool arts, cool cards, and then these niche sets like the motifs, the immaculates, the natural treasures. Like these are the ones that are high value. I'm still learning about it all, but it's super exciting to learn and be a part of because people are so healthy in terms of conversating and trying to help and engage with you. So it's super cool. Thunder player, red. A Chet Holmgren.
Oh, okay.
Chet Holmgren went up 199, 28 on 199. Great card.
That's a great card. Chet's he's becoming a star right now. He looked incredible last year at times. He looked really good.
He's gonna be one of those players that we talk about in years. Like there's a bunch of guys in this younger draft class that I'm excited to. I always say prospect, but it's not the same as baseball. You're keeping up with guys and hoping they continue to have successful careers.
Yeah. Going back to some of those moments you had on the court. Any incident, like you got to be fearless to play that way, the way you do on the court. But was there ever a moment in one of those incidents that you can recall, maybe in the back of your head, you might have been like, might have bit off a bit more than I could chew right now with this one. Might have gone a little. Maybe things are going to go a little haywire. Was there ever a moment that you felt that way?
Just a miss them both moment. That's the one that I feel like make them both moment. That's the one I felt like was like, dang, Ryan should have shot free throws first and then talk trash, But other than that, I think every other one I had was pretty, goofy or like competitive. Like Jimmy Butler, when people always say you poked a bear, I'm like, listen, guys, you're playing against one of the better players in the Eastern Conference, and we're competing at a high level, and I never talk first. That's one thing I always say. If people know me, I talk trash jokingly. I'll be like, hi, nice move, like a troll in a way, but I'll never talk trash first. So like when he said what he talked, and that's when I responded, I said, listen, you're gonna compete. And then the rest of the series we competed away. And I remember looking back to that game, I'm like, hey, listen, people can have whatever feeling or something about it, but I don't regret it because I feel great about competing at a high level, and I always battle. And sometimes you lose battles, but you got to win wars.
Yeah, there you go. And I do think too, like especially fans, I think a lot of times we get caught up in like the drama, the trash talking, like who said this and who said what, but like trash talk is such I think a part of the game and part of the ingrained in the culture of like all pro sports and in the NBA as well, like. That's just part of the fun of it in a way,
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that competitive energy is across anything. You're playing for friends at home, and you could playing board games. And, you're chatting just as much as you are when you're at a highest level of competing. And I feel like that's any competitor, whether it's through sport, whether it's through chess. Like you see it, even Magnus Carlsen probably talk trash sometimes.
Who we got? Who we got?
I had to pull too fast, and I realized now I have an auto right here.
There we go.
And I have a Zach LaVine silver.
Okay.
And the flip, one of my PCs actually, because I saw it already.
Oh, very nice. The Derek Lively silver rookie. That's awesome.
Derek Lively silver rookie auto.
You got to see him a little bit beginning of the season with Dallas. What do you think fans are in store for his career? We saw him in the finals, and I mean, I think he got better as the season went along.
Top 3 center in the NBA from the defensive side of the basketball. Tyson Chandler-esque player, where it's like he honestly could have been a number 1 draft pick in the class, and I would have been shocked based on what I think his career is going to look like. He's impressive, man. His work ethic, his ability to communicate with his teammates, his way of being physical at the young age that he is at 19. He's not even filled out his body yet. So I'm super excited about his potential and how good he could possibly be.
Yeah, he's an exciting young talent for sure. Definitely want to see what he can bring this year in the second year.
Anthony Edwards, sober.
Okay.
And got a teammate, Brandon Miller.
Ooh,
At
that is a really
199. Crazy hit. And also,
wow.
mind you, my PC. So I had two guys in my PC that I love that are, D Lively and Brandon Miller already. Those are two sick cards. And my last two packs, one of them has an auto in it.
Man, this has been a really good box. Really,
Trash box so far, but this product is amazing. This
it
product
is.
is already absurd.
Oh yeah, everybody who's been opening boxes, like you're getting at least something solid out of there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do want to just get into your like background growing up because I was gonna say you just mentioned it. Like I don't know if you guys ever had a career day where you brought your parents in, but like you must have been like the coolest kid at school. You'd be like, yeah, my dad knows Prince, and like my mom.
I feel like my age, my demographic didn't know who Prince was in the first place. Like
That's fair.
that. I
That's
didn't have the cool experiences, but like nowadays, people like love the fact that like now he's a cool dude, and he has so many different connections in the world. I would say that like I'm always like, how did you know this guy? He's like, well, I met him back when I was playing for this or doing this, and it's like, goodness, pop. But it's been super cool. Like whether it's career day or even just like talking, about what your parents do and what they've always been, who they've been surrounded by. That's another thing that's super cool. And I'm thankful because it allowed me to, at a young age to then like appreciate just like people for who they are rather than like thinking of them as this high end. Because my dad would just be like, hey, you want to meet Dr. J? Come on, I know him. And it's like, how do you know Dr. J? You want to know? The thing about my dad is, there's one thing I can tell you. Either it's completely true, the story, or it's completely false, and you just got to figure it out. So I remember there was one day he was telling me how Dr. J, like, you wonder how he got his nickname, or you wonder how, like, blah, blah, blah. And we were at the Rucker, and I remember we were doing this, talking trash and stuff like this. And I'm like, no way, Dr. J doesn't even know you. And then I met him, and I walked into the airport one day and saw him. And I was like, Dad, look who it is. It's Dr. J. He's like, go introduce yourself. Tell me who your father is. And so I walk up to him and say, I'm Gil's son, blah, blah, blah. He's like, huh? And then my dad walks over and kind of they just stare at each other for a couple minutes. He said, what's up, Black? Or some crazy, like some nickname or something like that. He said, Gil? I was like, oh, yeah, this is where I know my dad just like has a crazy number of connections. I have no
wow.
idea what's going on.
Wow.
Oh, Gary Payton out of 99. Legend.
Right. Nice. Another nice one. Another nice legend.
Yes, and the crazy thing is now that means the last pack has the auto on it.
Ooh, that's right. Okay, yeah, we still got one more in there.
Last pack
Yeah,
Magic.
let's see what that last pack is. Yeah, let's just get the tension rising right now on this last one.
Who do we think it will be?
Ooh, man. I mean, it's been a great box. I'm gonna say it's gonna be. Let's go with another Thompson twin. Let's go with Amon Thompson. Let's finish the duo.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Austin Reeves, Patrick Ewing, Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, DeAndre Hunter, Paolo Banchero, Jalen Wilson, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Brilliance.
All right, here comes that auto.
Houston Rockets.
Oh, wait.
No, non-auto. Alperen
Okay.
Sengun.
Damn, I thought I was on it.
I thought so too. I'm in Thompson, but where's the other auto? There's only one auto.
All
There's
right.
only one auto.
We got to send a pack to Panini. We got to we got to send him a pack to get him. Hey, we didn't have enough autos.
We got to give him a call. No, we didn't have the autos in the backs.
Panini, come on. Unless there's a Panini points in there and we didn't see, which I can't imagine they're putting Panini points cards into Deca, but maybe. I don't know. It still turned out to be, even without that second auto, it's still a really good box altogether.
Yeah, it's a crazy box. Look, a lively signature as well as a Brandon Miller colored card. Listen, I'm not going to be mad at it.
No, definitely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, that was an excellent box. Great box. Before we go, there's a couple more things I want to ask you. You had some, I think, Ivy League aspirations as well. You again described as some math whiz, all that. So if Grant Williams wasn't playing basketball, what would Grant Williams be doing
And if would I be able to stay in the sport, or would I know basketball whatsoever?
You know what? Let's say basketball's not an option. So what would it be then?
Probably something involving private equity or venture capitalism, probably around that world, just in business in general. I study supply chain for collateral marketing, so like supply chain probably would have been the educator route. But if I didn't have basketball, I would have started studying engineering or something, coding or some computer science, something like that. So I would say that would be the options.
Okay, I was gonna say that's because was Andre Iguodala in your position in the NBA PA before you? Is that right? Because I was gonna say he's around here now. He's gotten way into the VCs and stuff. So like that makes a lot of sense. That you guys kind of following that same idea, same path right there.
Very cerebral, one of the most intelligent guys I know, and he has his own fund. He does a lot of things that he has success with. So it's super cool being around Dre every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, Grant, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on, and a pleasure talking with you.
Pleasure.
Big thanks once again to Grant, and hoping for a speedy recovery. Love to see him back on the court very soon. And make sure you like this video. Make sure to subscribe to Mojobreak Media. We've got new episodes every other Friday of The Break Room. We've got podcasts, we've got box breaks, and so much more. And make sure to comment. Who do you want to see on a future episode? Let us know, and we'll see you next time on The Break Room. Peace.